Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to another edition of Talmbout Wrestling, right here on the Black Phoenix Network. I'm your host, the untouchable J.R. Atkins, and this is your primary destination for wrestling conversation. So, hey, you're seeing this on a Monday. My bad. It's been a crazy weekend. I have been intending to record this podcast for you all weekend, and things have happened, and I haven't been able to do it. But it is Sunday night, and I'm doing this for you for a Monday. So, a Monday edition of Talking About Wrestling. These are rare. Because usually I get it done. If I don't get it done Saturday, then it's Sunday. But it's a Monday for you. And it's actually Monday in real life because it's almost midnight, actually. So, hey. Again, thank you for being flexible with me on this Talking About Wrestling Black Phoenix Network journey. Life be life, and sometimes you got to move some things around. So I apologize to anyone who was waiting on a Saturday or a Sunday, but it's Monday, and hey, maybe you can get a little Monday picker-upper. All right, get you ready for Raw tonight, right? Because what we're going to talk about today, oddly enough, is WWE. So before we get into all of that, though, we got to take care of the business we got to take care of. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for tuning in. If you're new here, make sure that you like, you share, you subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify, make sure you leave a rating and a review. If you're listening to this or watching this on YouTube, make sure you follow Black Phoenix Brand on YouTube and like the video, and go through and like some other stuff too. If you ain't trying to get into the wrestling podcast stuff, go on down. Like, there's maybe some other kind of stuff there, and there's definitely a lot of music stuff. If you don't know that I do or have done a little bit of music in my day, you can get some music, see some of my old performances. Check it out. There's a lot of stuff on there if you follow it on YouTube. But if you're here on Substack, thank you again for being here on Substack. Make sure that you go and you pretty much just check out what's on the Substack, okay? Because we have What's Up Wednesdays, which usually is a written article. This past Wednesday, actually the video version. Sometimes I will do that. I've only done 2, but it's an option that because sometimes you want to write some stuff. Other times you just got to talk about it. So this past week, I did a video version of What's Up Wednesday, and the beauty of Substack, and I know that consistency is key, but sometimes you can switch it up however you need to switch it up when you need to switch it up. So that's what this is. So you roll with the punches. So nonetheless, I'm rambling. Nevertheless, thank you for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, leave a rating, review, comment, engage. And more importantly, tell your friends. Tell somebody. If you're here from Threads, because I've been on a lot of stuff on Threads here lately. So if you're here from Threads, thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoy. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like the video. And without further ado, I know the thing that you're here for, because it's what y'all are here for. It's time for the shirt of the day. And this one's, I won't say it's special, but it's definitely what we're talking about today. Today, we're going to be talking about it's WrestleMania season. Because the last time you saw me, we talked about AEW. It was basically really the last 2 times, if we're being honest. We talked about Revolution. It was my prediction show, and then we did Revolution, pretty much the fallout show of the results of that, and what I thought about it and things like that. This week we're gonna do something a little. I won't say we're gonna do something a little different, but we're gonna balance it out a little bit, right? Because as I've mentioned before, I don't really cover WWE that much because I'm not really watching on a regular basis. But it's WrestleMania season, and how can you not talk about WWE during WrestleMania season? You really have to try not to, if we're being honest here. So what I wanted to do today was really cover what we have on the books so far and kind of the build so far on these things. The card isn't even remotely set. Right now, as I look on Wikipedia, there are 8 matches officially announced, and we got about 2 or 3 weeks until showtime. So you know, it's it's a it's an interesting time. Then we have to fill this card out. Um, there's an extra hour that is going to be on ESPN2 on night 1 and ESPN on night 2. The first hour is going to be uh, live on those channels before moving to the I guess the ESPN app thing or whatever. So um, you would think that they would put like a major match on those to kind of be the lead in, but maybe a major, but not too major, not like a main event, but like something to hook you, so to speak. Um, so far this card is it's cool on paper. Some of the build is kind of like, well, not the decisions I would have made, but okay, I guess so, right? So it's that. So we're gonna talk today about the build, the matches that are signed already, and whether now take with a grain of salt. I have not actually really watched an entire episode of Raw or SmackDown in months. Um, I do try to keep up with the highlights of what's going on. So there's some things that I'm a little blank on, but I'll give my opinion as best I can. But again, grain of salt me. So we'll go with that. Let's see where I want to start here. And I also will go over some things that I guess I think are gonna happen, maybe. But the main matches are kind of set, so I'm not really sure what else there will or can be. Let's see where I want to start. You know, okay, because there's some things that are in the news. So let's start with one of the most recent matches that was made. Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre will have a unsanctioned match. That feels pretty on par, given how the feud has been booked, that they would have some kind of no DQ fight. And I understand it being it's funny because there are so many different names for just a no disqualification match, or hardcore, or whatever you want to call it. If I go into unsanctioned, it's just a hardcore match. Unsanctioned in-game, the match is not recognized by the promotion. Sometimes used when a wrestler is injured and wants revenge but cannot be medically cleared. Lights Out is another version of that. They use an AEW, of course. Yeah. So just a another no rules hardcore match or whatever. But given this feud, it makes sense. Seems like the build has kind of been, it's kind of a mixture of what I thought was going to happen with the Cody thing, but they didn't go in that direction. And we knew that once Randy Orton won the chamber, won the chamber, and Cody won the title back, we kind of figured this is where we were going. But it is a big match for Fatu. For Drew, and I don't even think I have a prediction yet. I gotta wait and see how the rest of the feud plays out. I'm not making any predictions in this video necessarily. I'm just kind of talking about the build and the matches that we have. Like I said, you have 8 matches so far to spread across 2 nights for like 4 hours, give or take, or 5. Now with the I don't want to call it a pre-show, but the ESPN portion. So we're at least getting 4 more matches, I think. I think we're gonna round that at like 6 or 7 per night, probably. Or yeah. So probably got about 6 more matches, 7 more matches to make, give or take. So yeah, Fatu and Drew, like I could see that be, well, not necessarily, because it's gonna be kind of brutal in theory. And I don't know if they would want to put that one on. I don't think it's gonna be bloody or anything. It's not like gonna be an AEW level violent per se. But I don't know if that would be the thing they would want to put on ESPN necessarily. But if they did, I could understand it. I think there'll probably be one women's match, and and then are they going to just go one match or two matches for that hour? There's going to be a lot of commercials. Like, how is that all going to play out? From what we have now, again, I could see them throwing a title match at the end of one of those. None of the main ones, but like maybe Stephanie and Liv, I could see being on one of those hours. I don't know about Jade and Rhea. However, Jade and Rhea makes sense because Jade's entire thing is being the one where you're flipping channels and you see her and she makes you stop and pay attention. And if you're going to do that anywhere, you would do it on ESPN. Her thing is not on the mic. It's not in the ring. It is purely in stature and hook when you're switching channels. And she knows that because I've heard her say that in the interview as well, plenty of times actually. So she knows that's kind of her hook. It was that she said that even when she was in AEW. But going back, so I think the Fatu and Drew McIntyre, I mean, it makes sense because it's been building this entire time. Like I said, it seemed like they were going with a triple threat: Cody, Jacob Fatu, and Drew McIntyre, which I probably still would have rather seen, but I guess I understand. So far so good there. Next thing we're gonna get right into this is Sami Zayn apparently as the United States champion versus Trick Williams for the United States Championship. So that's kind of been a topic of discussion coming out of SmackDown Friday night, is how we got here. It definitely has seemed like we were building towards Sami Zayn and Trick Williams for Mania. That was kind of one of those obvious things. Like, okay, from the tea leaves, they seem to be having a lot of interaction, so we're probably definitely gonna get the Sami Zayn Trick Williams match at Mania. And the weird thing is, like, the feud was there to just be a feud without any kind of title attached to it. It didn't really need it. Like, the story was there. And Carmelo was kind of killing it as United States champion. And they had a thing kind of going on with him and Ilya. So again, it kind of made sense. Like, okay, well, cool. You can get two matches out of that. It's almost the opposite of kind of what I was thinking with the Cody Rhodes, Jacob Fatu, Drew McIntyre thing, where we're thinking like, okay, well, that's a triple threat match. You can do that. But thinking like, okay, well, they busted that up to get two matches out of it, basically. Well, here it's like, well, you still can get two matches out of Sammy, Trick, Ilya, and Carmelo. You could have got one match out of it. You could have made it a fatal four-way, but that would have hindered a little bit. Because again, the two stories are really Trick and Sammy. Like I said, and you could have done something with Carmelo and Ilya, and that'd been a banger. And truthfully, the thing that I had been saying was, I really thought you could do Trick and I think Trick and Mello would have been a better, like, the story wasn't there necessarily, at least in turn they hadn't been building to that. But I think it was to me that would have been a better thing. But again, you've been building the same thing up, so it makes sense to have done that. But it didn't need the title. And so now you're thinking, so then where does that leave Carmelo? And then where does that leave Ilya? Do they do anything? Again, we still have some matches to go. Are you just going to say, well, y'all just go out there and have a banger for however long on Mania? Just because? I mean, that's fine. I guess you still got a slot. But it doesn't mean as much without the title. So, and Sammy and Trick could have been with the title. So if you're curious about what happened, if you haven't really seen, it's Monday. You should have seen the thing, the clips by now. So, Nick Aldis tells Trick he has a Mania match. Doesn't really tell him what it is. Sami Zayn is like, hey, what about me? Nick Aldis is like, well, you hadn't been having a good go of it, so no match for you. Then Sammy's like, oh, well, I've been here, I've been busting my ass. You know what? I'm gonna get me, a WrestleMania match. He goes out, he accepts Carmelo's open challenge. Some shenanigans, Trick accidentally hits Carmelo, and Sammy takes advantage, which is something that he typically hasn't been prone to do, which is also an interesting wrinkle. I will give you that. Takes advantage of the interference and hits the hula kick, wins the United States Championship. Now, this I didn't actually see in the clips. I saw all of that part. What I didn't see is the actual making of Trick Williams versus Sami Zayn. But A, it's listed here on Wikipedia already, and B, I saw everybody on social media who had watched SmackDown immediately saying that that was going to be the match. And most people's prediction is automatically that Trick wins the United States Championship. And that, I think, should happen. I think it should happen. But WWE strange because, again, especially when it comes to Sammy, they put him in these positions where you would think like, well, the thing would be for him to lose. They have him lose when you feel like he should win, and have him win when you feel like he should lose. They do really weird stuff with Sammy. So this was another one of those instances, right, where like you don't have him win, and then you have him win at these weird times that nobody really asked for him to win. Again, they have a weird booking thing with Sami Zayn there. But it'll probably be a good match. I think it'll be a really good match. Sammy's gonna carry. Trick is decent, and Sammy will carry him to a good match regardless of that. That's another match that I could see taking place on the, I don't want to call it the pre-show, but on the live TV portion on one of those nights. Definitely could see them putting the star power that Trick is. I could see them putting him in that position. There's another one coming up that I also think we'll see about that as well. And I also want to say this. I think that little bit of placement will also matter, will also determine the winner. So another reason why I'm not putting a prediction there. Like, I think the matches that are on ESPN and ESPN2, that's actually going to determine who may or may not win those matches. So holding my space on that one. We have AJ Lee and Becky Lynch. AJ Lee, of course, is the Intercontinental Champion. Becky Lynch is the challenger here, and they're doing a one-on-one again. I'm wondering, are they going to put a stipulation there? Because I think I've seen somewhere that they're going to do try to do a stipulation for one of the women's matches. Oh, not I'm sorry, not one of the women, but just one of the matches that would be on ESPN. Probably be a stipulation match. Not sure about that, but we'll see. But nonetheless, AJ Lee, Becky Lynch, they had a pretty good match at Elimination Chamber, I think. Yeah, at Elimination Chamber. And I could see them doing a I don't know if they switched the title back. Give AJ Lee because Becky doesn't need it at this point. She's kind of been not toiling, but she's kind of been in that range for the better part of a year now. So I don't know if she needs that title back just yet. She's lost it at least once, if not twice. So again, I don't know if it's I mean, she's made that division, and I don't know what you do if she loses. But again, I'm not making a prediction just yet. I think the build has been pretty much them cutting promos at each other. Been pretty good promos. Becky being Becky. Again, I kind of have been in and out on those a little bit as far as like watching, because I've seen more SmackDown clips than I have Raw clips. But it's weird because I've seen more Raw than I have SmackDown actually live, because I don't have anything to watch SmackDown on, but I've seen more SmackDown clips, so go figure. But I usually miss the Becky Lynch, AJ Lee segments, and I did this past week as well. But I think the build so far has been pretty good. We knew it was going to be a Mania match. We just didn't know the direction it was going to go as far as Becky being champ or AJ. And since they did that Elimination Chamber. Obviously, here we are. AJ has had a couple of matches. I think there was another reign, and it may have been Cena or maybe somebody else. There's somebody else where it was like, no, you know who it reminds me of? Shawn Michaels, where he won the World Heavyweight title that when he first came back in 2002. And then he had like a couple of dream matches. Like he had the RVD match, though it ended like no contest. And he may have had one more as champion before he went on to lose it back to Triple H. This could be something like that. Like, oh, you won the title back because you just came back. Had a couple, have a dream match or two. She had one with Bayley and probably had one somewhere else. And then maybe drop it back to Becky and then whatever. But we'll see. We'll see. The next thing here is, I don't want to call it my main event. It's one of those things that I am going to, it's the match I'm looking forward to the most on WrestleMania for a variety of reasons. And I feel so strongly about this match that I either want to do a Wednesday about it or an episode of Talmbout Wrestling or a spinoff of Talmbout Wrestling or something. Because I think this has so much to it. Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. Now, for most, this will probably just be another showcase match for Brock to be Brock. There's a little bit of like, this is an opportunity for Brock to put Oba over because there's not much to gain for Brock to win. But there's so much more. Look, we don't avoid the elephant in the room here on Talking About Wrestling, so we're just gonna call a thing a thing. Brock Lesnar is the brother Slayer. Okay. The Rock, which is a whole different conversation. Kofi Kingston, Bobby Lashley, Big E. I feel like there's a couple more that I'm forgetting. But Brock has put down just about every black wrestler in WWE. Obafemi is coming in not just as the ruler, he's coming in as the redeemer. Okay, the avenger, if we will. He's coming to avenge the losses. We haven't forgot how you did Kofi for the WWE Championship. We hadn't forgot. So there's a lot riding on the Oba thing. And this match makes me want to, like I said, do a bit of a deep dive on the history of not just Brock, but like the way of all the injustices, if you will. And most of them probably will include Brock, but Triple H is in there too. That WrestleMania 19 thing is there too. And I just kind of want to do a deep dive on all of the wrongs that need to be righted, that you may not completely right them, but you go a step in the right direction if you have Oba go over Brock, especially go over Brock the right way. This doesn't need to be a situation of, oh, he's going to be a star, we're going to make him look like a star in a loss. He lost a match, but he came out looking like the star he looked. No, if you pull the trigger, because if you want him to be the guy, you have to go ahead and do it now. The big knock on WWE is that they do not create new stars. You have 3 right now that just so happen to be of a darker hue, but they are some of the most over people that you brought up lately. And Obafemi, Trick Williams, Javon Evans. Do the right thing with them. You got 3 stars. You got Penta over already. Not sure why you can't get Rey Fenix over already. But you have 3 people that you just brought to the main roster this year who are huge, soon to be stars. You got Powerhouse Hobbs, aka Royce Keys. He's doing something on main event. Maybe you don't start pushing him to after Mania. Because you know what I knew was going to happen? Because what you weren't going to do was push Obafemi and Royce Keys at the same time. Because they're not the same thing, but you need both of them strong. And if you and you know, so maybe Royce starts to elevate after after Mania. And that just kind of keep that does tend to be sometimes you see things where like, you know, there's no space for him automatically. They just brought him in for that, and then after Mania, they'll really start to give him a bit of a push wherever he's going to be. Ideally, he shouldn't be on Raw with Ova, but it's WWE we're talking about. They brought Miro back. I'm sorry, Rusev, and see what they did with him so far. Right the wrongs. WWE, you have one job at Mania when it comes to Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. One job. And that's the job. Now, the original segment they had where Oba puts him down, steps on his chest and points at the Mania sign. People were pointing out how Brock told him during that segment to step on his chest and do the thing. So he's kind of giving them that rub of like, hey, do the thing. Here's how you do this thing to look strong. They said they compared that to him telling Drew to pick up the title prior to 2020, the 2020 Mania. And they gave him that instruction as well. And he put Drew over. So I'm curious if this is going to be a similar situation of Brock actually putting Oba over. It should be. It should absolutely be. You want him to go, you want him to be the big dog, basically. You got to go ahead and have him put Brock down convincingly as well. Brock's on his way out. There are plenty of other people he can beat. Oba doesn't need to be one of them. They do that. There's some things that will ruin my entire WrestleMania weekend. Last year, it was them having Bianca lose and ending her WrestleMania streak and not making it a thing. And it pretty much ruined the entire weekend for me. Because even though it was the best match of the weekend, it still was like it ruined the entire thing for me. So Oba losing to Brock would absolutely do that. Next up, we have Jade Cargill and Rhea Ripley, and this one has taken an interesting turn as well. Because what are we doing? A lot of weird promo battles going back and forth. It's a weird energy with them. And so out of that, you had Michin and B-Fab last week come out and attack Rhea. And they've joined up with Jade, and I guess they were kind of doing a baddies reformation thing or whatever we're going to call it this go around. It works. And I saw somebody make a point that like, well, maybe they had them do that because they're so much better on the mic than Jade is. It's funny that they talk about Rhea. I'm like, Rhea actually typically does seem to have better. I'm not saying she's a knockout promo, but I've seen her be like that charismatic, be in that space of like cutting promos that work, right? It's like there's this weird reluctance or something they're trying to hold back. I'm not sure what exactly it is, but something weird that they're trying to do there. Like I said, I can't put my finger on it, but the promos aren't hidden the way they should or that you would want them to. The wrinkle of adding in B-Fab and Michin does something. Jay's promos are getting kind of these weird. It's Jade is Jade ain't a good promo. She doesn't sound natural. She doesn't. It's Jay's not a good promo. She has the look. She's decent enough in the ring, kinda, but she's not a good promo. They say Rhea's not a good promo. I've heard her cut better promos and some of this stuff. It's like whatever we've decided this is going to be does not work. The match may be okay. Rhea probably can get her to a good match. The spectacle will be there, and that's why I say you put Jade and Rhea on ESPN. People will stop if they're flipping through channels. They definitely will stop and look at that. So I could see that being one of those matches, but what are we doing? What are we doing? I don't know. Let's go. I'm gonna skip around a little bit here as far as Wikipedia is concerned. You got Stephanie Vaquer versus Liv Morgan. I'm gonna be honest. I have not seen hardly any of the build for this match. I always catch like after the fact and I hear them kind of talking about it, or I see people kind of talking about it on social media, but I have not seen much in terms of what this build will actually be. And I've seen people saying it's actually one of the better built matches for Mania weekend, but I haven't seen it. Haven't seen anything. And maybe I need to go find a segment here or there. Because I'm hearing, like I said, I'm hearing they're knocking it out of the park, but hadn't seen anything about it. Nothing else really even to say there because, like I said, I don't have anything. Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. Randy Orton has been doing some classic heel work. Fans are not keen to boo Randy Orton much. A little bit maybe, but not much. And then you put it there's not many people you can put against him that are going to be popular. It's kind of that same kind of John Cena effect, right? The more you try to turn him heel, like sure, there's some people that'll boo, but they kind of want to cheer you. We're so happy that you turn. A lot of people are so happy you turn heel that they're cheering you anyway, even if the shit was trash. So I mean, so that's the thing. I think they're having a similar problem with Randy Orton this year. That like people aren't trying to boo Randy Orton, and people kind of grow tired of Cody's babyface, antics. So, I'm not really sure what they're doing here. But Randy's been trying to do his heel thing. He's been basically Matt Cardona has kind of been the proxy for Cody while he was out after the big attack. And he attacked Matt Cardona, pretty much quote unquote broke his arm. And they had a match with him and, kind of gave him the business there. Cody returns this past Friday and he and Randy have a bit of a brawl. Everybody's kind of splitting them up. Jelly Roll somehow gets involved in this. He takes an RKO because we're trying to solidify Randy as a heel. But again, who actually cares that he like we're at the point now where that's the thing here's the problem. When you kind of make the heel thing that he could do just a regular part of who he is, when he keeps doing it, it doesn't register as heel stuff. He'll RKO anybody. The shirt literally says RKO everybody. Right? So of course he'll RKO Jelly Roll. If he had RKO Jelly Roll back at SummerSlam when they had that match, same thing. The intent, that's what he does. He just RKOs people. So there's nobody he could RKO now that it would garner a heel reaction because you've established that he would RKO anybody anyway. So it's hard to do that and get him booed when you've established that the character does this regardless. I don't know what you do. They've had him kind of cut promos where he kind of shits on the fans. That didn't necessarily work. Hadn't worked either time. You get a smattering of boos, but we go back to cheering him. Then Cody comes out and it's like, you got your section of the people who are tired of Cody. what are we doing? What are you gonna do? You know, that's a tricky one. That's a tough one, and I know it is. And I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know what they're gonna do there. The build has been decent, you know. Like I said, this isn't even the match I would have done, but I guess I understand why. And it's definitely not. That's definitely a night one main event in terms of CM Punk and Roman being your night two. Because again, you hadn't really built anybody. You hadn't built Cody. I don't know if it's you haven't built Cody up enough, or you hadn't built anybody else enough up to have a night two type main event there. So it worked that way with Cena last year, but it was Cena, right? So I'm not sure. And finally, we have CM Punk and Roman Reigns. This has just been a battle of words, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. This past week has probably been the most interesting part of this whole thing, and it really doesn't have much to do with CM Punk. There are a lot of people online kind of pointing towards a reformation of the bloodline. I don't know if I think that's exactly where we're going, but there's some very interesting dynamics taking place within all of that. On Raw this week, you had Punk in the ring. He's talking about Roman. The Usos come out. No, actually, I'm sorry. Jay comes out, and Punk's kind of egging him on. Jay's like, yo, you're going to have to see about me. You talking about my family. You still talking shit. Jimmy comes out. He's like, hey, you need to calm down. And he's like, no, I got to get him. Jimmy's like, no, calm down. Punk kind of talks some more shit. Out comes Roman. Roman is like, yo, get your cousin, get out the ring. I got this. But then it all kind of break down. I think like Punk pushed Jimmy, Jay, or Punk hit Jay. I can't remember the exact order of events. I think it was Punk hit Jay, Jimmy jumped on Punk, and then out of that, Roman Superman punches Punk in the back of the head. Next thing you know, they're trying to get Jay out of the ring. Roman is like, I told you I got this. I told you I got this. Jay is like, no, you know what to do. Get his ass. You know what to do. Get his ass. And this is a very interesting twist because Roman's getting out of the ring as he's saying that. And then he doubles back, spears Punk, takes him outside, beats him up a little bit, puts him through a table. And it's this weird thing of, did Jay just call the play? Remember, in the entirety of the bloodline, as the right-hand man, it was always about Roman calling the play. But now Jay calls the play? You also have LA Knight, who has so far had the Usos back. But he's also mentioned like, hey, you starting to, is there bloodline really? If y'all finna do some bloodline shit, I ain't with that. And you sure are starting to sound like Roman. So it's an interesting, what's happening there? What's happening there? I don't think that WrestleMania is the night or the weekend of the reformation of the bloodline. Because I don't think they have the creative writing chops to pull that off. Because it would be great. It would be great in the way that the China Triple H turn happened at Mania 15, where you have Triple H come out and you have China attack Kane, who was a heel. China was backing him up. And they were going against he was going against Triple H. China attacks Kane, and we get the Triple H China reunion, thinking that China's back in the DX fold, only to then turn around and have Triple H turn on X-Pac and they turn and go back to the corporation. Again, you kind of get this weird double turn thing where Kane now is out of the corporation, Triple H is in. So that was very intricate story, right? And a lot. And it probably sounds crazy. And if I go back and watch it, it's probably very Vince Russo-ish. But in my nostalgia, it was one of those times where for all the Crash TV that we talked about with Russo, there's some very memorable things, and weaving a through line is one of those things that they don't do as much anymore. So that would be an interesting way to do it, but I don't know if they would. We still don't know what the Usos are going to be doing at Mania. They definitely should be defending the tag team titles. I can't imagine that you wouldn't have the Usos defending those titles at Mania. I can't, or something. They have the match with Austin Theory and Logan Paul in like a no DQ or something, no count, whatever it is, tonight on Raw. So we'll see how that goes. But in terms of like just straight up what they're doing in Mania, we don't know yet. Because you would think they would make that at least the Mania match, but who knows? Still don't know what Seth is going to be doing because they're still doing the Masked Man thing, and he hadn't really said much. So you would think he would have a match. Not sure there. Nonetheless, I'm kind of getting off on a tangent here, but back to CM Punk and Roman. I'll come back to the Seth thing. But I say all that I mentioned that part to mention the most interesting thing that's happened in this CM Punk Roman Reigns feud doesn't have much to do with CM Punk. And that's not because I'm kind of out on CM Punk, because he's also kind of doing this weird kind of antagonizing thing. Like after Roman put him through the table, he pretty much was laughing, and they're like, and it's like, you know, and I guess the idea is that he got it in Roman's head some kind of way. Like I said, the least interesting part of this is CM Punk to me. And some of that is because if you know my particular feelings about Punk, but blah, whatever. But I'm interested to see that part, where how all of that plays out. You know, and especially because Roman's a part-timer. So doing the bloodline thing doesn't really make sense if he's not going to be there like he used to be. I like, we know what Roman does. Roman shows up for a few matches. He, you know, before Mania, probably won't show up after Mania. Maybe once or twice or something like that. He'll be here and there. So I don't know I don't even know if they're gonna put the title on him, because then the title disappears like it did when Will was Brock. So I don't know if they're gonna do that, but we'll see. We'll see. And then, like I mentioned, there's still some stuff. There's still a lot of stuff that needs to fall into place. We don't know what Seth is doing. We don't know what's going on with either set of tag team titles for Mania. The Usos have one, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna get on the show. That just makes sense. Over on SmackDown, who's the tag champions now? Oh, Damian Priest and R-Truth, of all people, are the tag team champions now. So are they gonna have a match? They should. Especially you have all this time to fill. You got 2 nights. You absolutely should have those titles on the line somewhere. But what teams do you even have on SmackDown right now that would challenge? That even makes sense. There's no feuds being built up really. You just got a bunch of tag teams. So like there's some stuff that kind of makes sense if you do the Usos, but there's not that many on SmackDown. But that's still a thing. Not really sure what's going on with the Women's United States title on SmackDown. Word was that it's probably Tiffany Stratton and Julia, and that probably is still what we're working towards. We will see. Women's tag titles seem to be in a state of flux. There are teams competing, but I'm not sure where we're going to land for Mania. I just saw a rumor earlier that Nikki Bella is probably, I think they said Nikki, is potentially injured, may have rolled an ankle or something. So if she's injured, you got to take her out of the fray. But there's still other teams there that matter, because you got Charlotte and Alexa, Bayley and Lyra have thrown out a challenge. Seemed like it maybe could have been a fatal 4-way. If Nikki's out, they may do triple threat. So I'm not really sure where we're going with the women's tag team championships as well. You still got El Grande Americano versus El Grande Americano. They have a very interesting dynamic when it comes. They have a very almost Bret Hart and the Hart Foundation type dynamic when it comes to here versus in AAA, where one's the heel here, the other one's the heel there. I imagine that match will culminate at Mania, though it wouldn't shock me if they did it at some AAA event as well. You got Finn Balor seems to be leading into a feud with Dom, so we're probably gonna have that match at Mania as well. It hadn't been signed yet. I can imagine it being signed tonight. And they got to start getting some of these matches officially lined up here. So like I think once it hit like tonight and into April, because you only have a few weeks, we're gonna start getting a lot more announcements. But it definitely looks like we're going with Finn versus Dom, maybe for the AAA Mega Championship. Maybe I don't know if they would do that, but maybe they would. I'm sure that I know they're going to have the match. I don't know if they're going to put that title on the line for it though, because it's more of a grudge match. So, Finn returned after getting kicked out of Judgment Day. Finn returned and he ended up kind of going after JD because Dom kind of got away and they did that thing where like the lackey stays in the ring and takes the beating while the person who's actually involved in the feud kind of runs away. So we're definitely probably getting Dom versus Finn. I can see that getting made as well. What else we got? Any other titles I'm missing? Women's title, world title, and the kind of okay. Who else needs a match that kind of has a big year? LA Knight in there somewhere. Like I said, Seth Rollins still doesn't have anything to do. So I'm not really sure where that's going to go. I think a lot of these injuries has completely shaken up a lot of the plans for this Mania between like I said, Seth being hurt. Maybe he's cleared now. The fact that he's back kind of says that he's cleared, but we don't really know. But Braun's out. They're kind of hoping that he may be back before Mania. Kind of a crapshoot, right? We don't know what's going on with the Vision, just yet. We don't know what's going on with the Usos, like I said. LA Knight doesn't have anything to do just yet. Like I said, there are a lot of women who don't have anything yet. Bianca's still hurt. That hurts my heart. I miss her so much. The Prophet's nowhere to be found, of course. Maybe they'll be back after Mania as well. I think there's almost as much to look forward to after Mania than there is at Mania, because I feel like maybe that's a point of reset. Even though they kind of already did a reset at the start of the year, they may do a post-Mania reset as well. Like I said, you got Royce Keys kind of hanging out on main event until they have something for him to do. That probably won't happen until after Mania. Man, I'm certain at this point it won't happen after Mania. Not sure if they're doing the Andre or the women's battle royals like that, because I don't think they've done that in a few years. Maybe I know they haven't. So that's kind of a thing. Like I said, you still got Carmelo and Ilya. Are they going to do something because you just took the title off Carmelo? That kind of seems like, or would they put all of them together for the make a 4-way for the United States Championship? Right now, it's just Sami Zayn and Trick, and it probably should just stay that way because that story has been being told. But the way that Trick calls Carmelo the title does kind of seem like it lends itself to Carmelo having a legit gripe to get into that match. And then also probably bringing in an Ilya as well. You got to have some multi-man matches in here somewhere. Because right now, it's just a bunch of one-on-one. You got to start having some multi-man matches. Because if you want to really get people on this card, you kind of got to do it. Carmelo absolutely deserves to be on Mania just as much as Trick does. That's why I say I think those two should have had a match together. And I not even be messed up when I say this, but like I really don't care what you would have done with Sammy in Mania because you book them like crap anyway. So I don't care what you would have done with them, but Trick and Mello both deserve a Mania match, and I would have loved for it to be against each other. But there's that. So there's still a lot of moving pieces. It's kind of early. I'll probably do another check in as we get a little closer to Mania, and I obviously will do a Mania prediction show prior to Mania. By then, the card will be a little more solidified. Hopefully, by then, I will actually know where I'm going to watch WrestleMania, because at this point, I don't know. I don't know where it's going to be, where I'm going to watch it at. I don't have the app. I mean, I have an idea if I need to. I know where I can, but I don't have the app. Dave and Buster's is crap. Has been crap for the last few years, last couple of years at least. I hadn't even gone there in a while, and I haven't heard anything about them showing it in Nashville on like at the movie theater. So I'm not sure where I'm going to watch Mania. We'll see, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. That is what we got on WrestleMania thus far. Thank you for tuning in to Talk About Wrestling right here on the Black Fitness Network. Once again, if you're tuning in, if you're new here, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to me ramble for almost an hour at this point. Again, it's Monday, but hey, who's to say? So I want you to tell me what you think. Do you agree with anything I've said as far as the bill goes for these matches? Do you like what you've been seeing so far? Does anything excite you? Which matches are you looking the most forward to? How do you feel about Ilya, Carmelo, Trick, Sami Zayn, that entire thing? CM Punk, Roman Reigns, the potential of a new bloodline story kind of playing out. Cody and Randy being a thing. Is the Jade Rhea feud kind of working for you? Are you here for it? Oba and Rock. What do you think needs to happen there? Like, there are a lot of moving pieces here so far, and there's still a lot of pieces that need to fall into place. So we're really very to only have 8 matches officially announced, and we're this close. Not saying you should have the whole thing announced just yet, but 8 matches. While it's a lot, it would be a lot if it was only one night. This would be your entire card, probably. And if it was the entire card, it wouldn't be the worst. There's still a lot of stuff missing, but you have so many titles now that, you know, there's only 2 matches that aren't right now for a title. And you, like you said, you still have at least. Oh, I didn't even mention Penta and the Intercontinental title. They're probably definitely going to do something with that. But it probably won't be one-on-one because he doesn't have a feud. He's kind of doing an open challenge thing, so we'll see what happens there as well. Maybe Dragon Lee, maybe. Gunther's still around. Gunther doesn't have anything. We haven't really even seen Gunther in a few weeks, I don't think. So, again, a lot of pieces to move into place. But again, comments below. Tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify, make sure you leave a comment. Leave a rating and a review. If you're watching on YouTube, because some people don't mess with Substack. If you're watching on YouTube, you can follow at Black Phoenix Brand on there. Make sure you leave a comment there. I would love to get those YouTube views up as well, because Substack is kind of settling where it is, but I would love to have some YouTube views as well, because I know a lot of people use that more. I may need to start pushing that more as well. But nonetheless, again, thank you for tuning in to Talk About Wrestling right here on the Black Fitness Network. And as I always say, I am your host, the untouchable J.R. Atkins. One more time, thank you for tuning in, especially on this Monday that's a little out of the ordinary. But until next time, as I always say, we are out.